So I'm telling you now that there's a lot of people who are starting to equate what's going on with Jayden Daniels and his injury, his high knee sprain, to RG3. I'm seeing it. I know it's happening. And probably even some of us deep down in our souls and our minds, and we didn't want to think this, we're probably starting to have a little bit of doubt or fear of like, what if the same thing? What if lightning is, striking twice? And what if Jayden Daniels is going to wind up getting hurt to the point to where he is not that electrifying player like he was in his rookie season? It sounds so similar to what happened with RG3. And of course, RG3 was never the same after that first year and that injury. And a lot of us feel like we've already anointed Jayden Daniels as the franchise quarterback for the Washington Commanders. And hearing about his injury, we are so afraid. Like, we're already trying to put him away. I'm seeing other people posting on social media and talking about how we need to put him away for like several games. He needs to be 100% healthy. And, I'm kind of like, well, okay, RG, I almost said RG3. Jayden Daniels is an extremely important part of our success. I definitely agree with that. But you can't put these players in bubble wrap. They got to be able to play the game. And if he is injured enough to where another hit could really cause some issues, then by all means, you do not play him. A lot of people had shown on social media the video of what Dan Quinn said, the play that really hurt uh, Jayden Daniels. And I actually thought it was the play where it looked like there was like a hip drop tackle that was not called. And it actually was the play where he had Parsons, I think, behind him in pursuit. And then I forget the Packers player's name, but he took him out low, which it seemed like a dirty hit for sure, but he took him out low, and that was what hurt Jayden. I'm sure that uh, hip drop tackle that was not called didn't help matters any. It probably aggravated it even more. But to me, it's like you could tell there was something really wrong with Jayden, and it wasn't that just all of a sudden he forgot how to play football. I don't think people really understand how important quarterbacks' legs are, even when they're not a running quarterback, even when they don't scramble. Having strong legs underneath you as a base to being able to push the football when they're passing, to be able to get something behind that pass, to get it out to the receiver where it needs to go. You got to have a strong base underneath you. And if you are hurt, especially at the knees, you're not going to be able to pass the ball effectively. And we saw that all throughout that game. Jayden was not healthy. Probably should have been pulled for Marcus Mariota, to be honest with you. I don't know how. Hopefully, Marcus is healthy, but I know he had been dealing with some injuries throughout training camp. And, that was a little bit of a concern, certainly. But I don't know. Maybe I would have pulled Jayden because of injury, because I didn't want him to aggravate the injury. I know that he's the guy who puts the team on his shoulders, and last year I think won a lot of games for us because of that. But at the same time, there are times when you can't be Superman out there. You have to be able to live to fight another day, so to speak. And I really think that I'm very concerned for Jayden. I really am. Um, do I think that he is going to follow in RG3's footsteps with the injuries? No. I think for one thing, he knows how to run, to scramble and slide without getting himself in trouble. But there are times, just like in the Packers game, where that just couldn't happen. And you're going to have those awkward tackles. You're going to have those low tackles that's going to mess up a knee. And unfortunately, that's what happened with Jayden. Hopefully he's good. I would like to see him play because honestly, you're 1-1, but you, you're chasing the Eagles, who are 2-0, even though the Eagles honestly have not played well. I don't think they played that great in the first two games. They could have easily lost against the Chiefs. They didn't. Yes, I realize, but you know, Jalen Hurts, I don't think has played that great. He's been really good when he runs the football, but I don't think he's played exceptionally well. And so you got to stay within at least a game with the Eagles. And so wins are going to come harder this year for the Commanders. That's just all it is to it. And you got to have a quarterback who is healthy. But you know how you keep your quarterback healthy? Well, first of all, certainly you don't put him in a situation where he has to scramble. Um, but the second thing is the refs have got to be able to do their job. I can say that without getting fined. The refs have, so far, I've watched a few games, and the refs have been horrible with their calling. Everybody could see on social media with the tush push and the false starts, the already lined up in the neutral zone that happens every single time the Eagles offense lines up for that stinking rotten play. And the refs are not doing it. Even Dean, what was his, Belinda? I can't, I see his last name, but you know who I'm talking about, head of officiating. And he said he's tired of the play. It's like it can't be officiated. And I think when you get to a play that's like that, it's going to get banned. I'm surprised it didn't get banned this year. I thought that they would probably look at it more closely. I don't think that they can really truthfully officiate this thing without, honestly, if there's a way to institute replay to where replay could see if someone was off sides and then determine, hey, they're off sides, you need to call off sides, or they're lined up in the neutral zone. Um, but in general, other than that, I've seen a lot of plays where the referee should have called something, if anything, to send a message that we're trying to protect the players, which is the reason why some of these uh, penalties have even made it into the penalty book, but they're not calling it. And they're calling like roughing the passer for, the least little bit of stuff, but they're not calling, they're not calling for when it really counts. I think that's the thing. Holding penalties. I saw so many holding penalties not being called. And then I see ticky tacky penalties being called. Certainly the officiating is still in preseason. To me, I feel like the officiating has gotten worse, which is the reason why that they're starting to lean more toward technology helping the officiating, especially spotting the football. Because right now the officiating is horrible. It's gotten worse throughout the years. And it wasn't necessarily foolproof back in the 80s. I mean, yeah, they made some weird calls back in the 80s and 90s, but other than that, I mean, it's been pretty bad. And it seems to become a little bit more blatant. And it does start to make you wonder because of, the gambling and stuff like that we have nowadays. It's like, should we, should we start looking into this? Because it seems like it's quite often that that these officiating crews are getting it wrong, and not just like, oh yeah, we missed that one, to like missing some major ones. Looking at some of the calls non-calls in the Broncos game. Um, Again, just like people are up in arms, like what is going on with the officiating in the NFL? And I think that's the whole point is that officiating, bad officiating is going to get someone hurt, like Jayden Daniels. You know, they have not protected Jayden whatsoever. I don't even think he's gotten even one rough in the passer call yet. He got hit late a lot in that Packers game, a lot. And they never called any of it. And I've seen much less called on us in the past few years. And it's sickening. They need to make sure that they start being consistent with how that they call these penalties. And they really need to learn how to protect the quarterback. Not just a slap on the helmet, which I don't understand that. I don't think that that really, I mean, if there's a closed fist, maybe, but I don't know. I think in some areas they're ticky tacky when it doesn't need to be ticky tacky. In other areas, they just don't call it. And it's really exposing these guys. I mean, like Joe Burrow, he's going to be out. Now, I'm not saying that was a officiating. I didn't watch that game, but I'm just using an example. You got a superstar quarterback who's pretty much going to be out the rest of the year, 3 months. That's pretty much the whole season for the Bengals. And I don't want to see that happen to Jayden Daniels. I don't think that he's going to be another RG3, but I'm telling you, he's not starting off 2025 too well.